The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. So wake up, Mr. Freeman. Wake up and smell the ashes.
The G-Man is an enigmatic and mysterious character that appears in nearly every title of the Half-Life series. Referred to as a sinister interdimensional bureaucrat, he is known to display peculiar behaviour and wield reality-bending powers. The G-Man's identity and motives remain unexplained. His allegiance is also unknown to this day, although he and his employers are apparent enemies to the Combine and are seen as a threat by them. Playing the role of an overseer and eventual employer, he often appears in odd and unreachable places, observing Gordon Freeman and other characters, periodically aiding or hindering them. The G-Man is an almost complete enigma. In the Half-Life audio script, he is referred to as follows: the cryptical bureaucrat, mystery man with a briefcase. He appears in the shadows, disappears when you chase him down dead-end corridors. He leads you into danger and guides you to safety as the whim strikes him. His motives remain mysterious, but at the end of the game, when you have extinguished an alien civilization, he offers you a job with whoever it is he works for. The G-Man possesses a calm, almost uninterested demeanor, particularly apparent in the ruined and alien-infested Black Mesa facility. He can often be seen calmly straightening his tie or brushing his suit lapels with his hands, regardless of whatever chaos may be surrounding him. Even when angered, he maintains a decidedly restrained demeanor, though removed voice lines include him snarling and becoming impatient, even muttering "well shit" as the Vortigaunts impede him. He also has demonstrated a dry sense of humour. He has stepped in directly and rescued Adrian Shepard and Alyx Vance before the destruction of Black Mesa, suggesting that he is capable of mercy, though it is more likely that he merely did this for his interests, and in Shepard's case, against the wishes of his employers. The G-Man seems to occasionally take an interest in certain individuals, using his powers and skills at manipulation to guide them down certain paths. He has made pawns of Gordon Freeman, Alyx Vance, and Adrian Shepard, as well as perhaps countless others. It is also implied that he orchestrated the Black Mesa incident, meaning that Dr. Breen was also under his influence. Individuals chosen by the G-Man can be hired by him after proving themselves capable of completing tasks for his goals, and are then placed in stasis until they can be useful to him. Gordon Freeman was hired after escaping Black Mesa and killing the Neolanth, and Alyx Vance was hired after breaking him out of the vault. The G-Man mentioned to Adrian that he has great respect for people who can survive against incredible odds, citing that such people remind him of himself, implying that G-Man has previously been in similarly dangerous situations on his own. His message to Eli mentioning unforeseen consequences, and the subsequent revelation about the threat to humanity posed by the Combine, acquiring the technology on board the Borealis, could imply that the G-Man might secretly be sympathetic to humanity and its fight for survival. Alternatively, these actions may be more self-serving in some unknown way than sympathetic. The G-Man appears quite skilled with technology and is capable of operating a very wide range of machinery, ranging from simple cell phones and sealed steel doors to complex nuclear weapons. Although, for the latter there are instructions inside the cap, and experimental teleports and portals. Throughout the entire Half-Life series, the G-Man tends to appear in an out-of-the-way or hard-to-reach location and then walk away and vanish without a trace once the player arrives. He is seen twice using portals, perhaps explaining his ability to appear and disappear randomly. What's more, one of the portals that he used appeared shortly before he entered it and then disappeared after he left, suggesting that the G-Man can somehow create such entities. The G-Man also seems to be able to control time, as he briefly stops the reactor explosion at the end of Half-Life 2 and transports individuals into and from stasis through different dimensions. It is revealed that the G-Man is capable of time travel when during the epilogue of the game he transports Alyx and himself 5 years into the future to show her the moment when her father dies at the hands of advisors at the end of Half-Life 2, Episode 2. He offers Alyx the possibility of changing the future, hinting he is capable of temporal manipulation. Furthermore, while he concedes that removing the Combine from Earth would be a considerably large nudge, he nevertheless implies it would be within his power were it not forbidden by his employers. During the dialogue with Alyx, the G-Man seems to be shifting in multitude of his copies, hinting that he is either capable of being present at multiple places at once, or capable of predicting and experiencing multiple various futures that are yet to happen. This can be seen when speaking to Alyx, and almost every answer he gives her is followed by a new clone of the G-Man leaving the scene, as if every answer of G-Man to Alyx's question created a different timeline of events. In most games featuring the G-Man, there are several sequences when the G-Man is talking at close range to the player, and various areas can be seen in the background, including areas from Black Mesa, or even areas the player will visit later into the game. In these sequences, the G-Man talks to the player. The player's character never responds or reacts in any way, and can be seen quickly appearing in different portions of the screen, in dreamlike sequences. He also appears on TV screens and broadcasts dotted around the environment. G-Man also seems to have technopathic or telepathic abilities of some sort, as the player will occasionally see his face on things such as unplugged televisions. The G-Man likely uses the ability to manipulate the senses of individuals to see and hear what he wants them to. This ability could explain the appearance of the G-Man on unplugged televisions, or the Black Mesa anomalous materials lobby in the Episode 2 cutscene. His only real weakness appears to be large amounts of Vortigaunt energy, which prevents him from using his powers. In Half-Life 2, Episode 1, he is visibly angry at the combined effort of several Vortigaunts to stop him from intervening in Gordon's rescue. Likewise, in Alyx, it is revealed that the Combine have been using the energy of captured Vortigaunts to power his prison cell in the vault. When asked by Alyx about who he is, G-Man answers with an enigmatic,
"Perhaps what I am is not as important as what I can offer you in exchange for coming all this way."
This sentence implies that the G-Man does not see himself as a person, but rather as an entity or being that takes the form of a human male out of necessity. The G-Man is one of the most mysterious and intriguing characters in the Half-Life series. His appearances throughout the games are brief but significant, leaving players with more questions than answers. The G-Man first appears in the original Half-Life, where he is introduced in a series of cryptic and unsettling encounters. Players first see him on the Sector C line, standing in a tram parallel to the one carrying Gordon Freeman, the game's protagonist. This brief glimpse sets the tone for the G-Man's character, an enigmatic figure who seems to observe and manipulate events from the shadows. Before the game's central experiment begins, the G-Man can be seen in a locked, soundproof room, arguing with a scientist. The room's soundproof nature allows only mumbling to be heard, further enhancing the air of mystery surrounding the G-Man. As the catastrophic resonance cascade occurs, the G-Man continues to appear in various out-of-reach locations, silently observing Freeman's actions throughout the Black Mesa research facility. The climax of Half-Life sees Gordon defeating the final boss, Nihilant, the ruler of Xen. Following this victory, the G-Man brings Gordon to safety in a sequence that is as abstract as it is inexplicable. The G-Man praises Gordon's actions, claiming that Xen is now under his employer's control, and subtly suggests that the US military forces played a role in capturing Xen. This sequence culminates in the G-Man offering Gordon a job, presenting it as a Hobson's choice, an illusion of free choice. Should the player decline the offer, Gordon is left to face a horde of alien grunts, leading to a fade to black and the G-Man's final words, "No regrets, Mr. Freeman." This initial encounter with the G-Man sets the stage for his role as a manipulative and powerful figure, one who is not bound by the normal rules of time and space. His control over events and his ability to offer Gordon a job suggests that he is more than just an observer. He is a player in a larger, unseen game. In Half-Life: Opposing Force, the G-Man takes on a more active role, directly influencing the events surrounding Corporal Adrian Shepard, the game's protagonist. During the boot camp training chapter, the G-Man can be seen speaking to an officer while occasionally glancing at Shepard, hinting that he had an interest in Shepard even before the Black Mesa incident. Throughout the game, the G-Man alternates between aiding and hindering Shepard. He saves Shepard's life by opening a door when deadly radioactive liquid threatens to engulf him, but later prevents him from escaping Black Mesa by closing a hangar door. The G-Man's actions culminate in his rearming of the nuclear bomb that eventually destroys Black Mesa, an act that seals Shepard's fate. At the end of the game, after Shepard defeats the Gene Worm, the G-Man appears on a V-22 Osprey, informing Shepard that he will be detained instead of being eliminated, contrary to his employer's original wishes. The G-Man's closing monologue reveals his admiration for Shepard's ability to adapt and survive, qualities that he sees in himself. The game ends with the G-Man disappearing through a portal, leaving Shepard in an unknown location, much like how he left Gordon in stasis at the end of Half-Life. In Half-Life Blue Shift and Half-Life Decay, the G-Man's appearances are brief and less significant. In both games, he is seen near the beginning, but he neither interacts with the main characters nor plays a direct role in the events that unfold. This suggests that while the G-Man's interest is primarily in individuals like Gordon Freeman and Adrian Shepard, he is always present, monitoring the broader situation.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
In Half-Life 2, the G-Man reappears, awakening Gordon from stasis approximately 20 years after the Black Mesa incident. The game begins with the G-Man addressing Gordon in a dreamlike montage, hinting that he has kept Gordon in stasis for his safety, and that an opportunity has now arisen for Gordon to fight against the Combine forces on Earth. Throughout Half-Life 2, the G-Man is briefly visible at various points, often from a distance or on video terminals. His presence is a constant reminder that Gordon is being watched and manipulated. The game's finale sees Gordon causing critical damage to the Citadel's dark energy reactor, which would have likely killed him had the G-Man not intervened. The G-Man extracts Gordon from the explosion, placing him back into stasis while he considers interesting offers for Gordon's services. This reintroduction of the G-Man in Half-Life 2 reinforces his role as a guardian of sorts, albeit one with his own agenda. His decision to place Gordon back into stasis suggests that Gordon is a valuable asset, one that the G-Man is not yet ready to let go. In Half-Life 2, Episode 1, the G-Man makes only a single appearance. At the game's beginning, he attempts to communicate with Gordon, but is interrupted by a group of Vortigaunts. This is the first time in the series that the G-Man's plans are hindered, and his reaction, irritation and anger, reveals a side of him not previously seen.
We'll see about that.
The Vortigaunts' intervention shows that there are forces capable of challenging the G-Man, adding a new layer of complexity to his character. It also suggests that the G-Man's control over events is not absolute, and there are limits to his power. In Half-Life 2, Episode 2, the G-Man again contacts Gordon, this time while Alyx Vance is being healed by a group of Vortigaunts. The G-Man explains that the Vortigaunts have been preventing him from appearing to Gordon, and that he has been forced to wait for the right moment to communicate.
I realize this moment may not be the most convenient for a heart-to-heart, but I had to wait until your friends were otherwise occupied.
During this encounter, the G-Man reveals that he was the one who plucked Alyx from Black Mesa during the Resonance Cascade, despite objections from unnamed individuals. He instructs Gordon to escort Alyx to White Forest, hinting that this task is a repayment for the G-Man's past interventions on Gordon's behalf. The G-Man's tone in this encounter is less rigid and more human-like, and he is notably not carrying his briefcase, which has been a constant accessory in his previous appearances. The G-Man's interaction with Alyx adds another dimension to his character, suggesting that he has a personal interest in her and that his actions are not solely driven by the orders of his employers. His instruction to Alyx to warn her father about unforeseen consequences also ties back to the events of the original Half-Life, creating a sense of continuity in his manipulations. In Half-Life Alyx, set 5 years before the events of Half-Life 2, the G-Man is captured by the Combine and held in a floating prison called the Vault. Alyx Vance unwittingly frees him, leading to a pivotal encounter where the G-Man offers her a deal. Alyx, believing she is speaking to Gordon, asks the G-Man to remove the Combine from Earth. However, the G-Man deems this request too large and instead shows Alyx a vision of her father's future death. He offers her the opportunity to prevent this event, which she accepts, proving herself a worthy successor to Gordon Freeman in the G-Man's eyes. This encounter reveals that the G-Man is not omnipotent. He was captured and imprisoned by the Combine, and his freedom relies on Alyx's actions. It also shows that the G-Man is willing to replace Gordon with Alyx, indicating that he sees her as a more compliant or capable asset. The post-credits scene of Half-Life Alyx reveals the consequences of this encounter. Gordon wakes up to find Eli alive and the Combine advisor dead, but Alyx is missing, having been taken by the G-Man. This sets the stage for future conflicts between the G-Man and those who seek to oppose him. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and I hope you enjoyed this video on Half-Life and the G-Man's lore. Shout out to my subs, and hope to see you in the next video.